Hi everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. Today we're going to compare the 2023 Land Rover Range Rover Evoque to the 2023 Volvo XC40. And let's start off with pricing. The XC40's base price is $36,350 and the Range Rover Evoque starts a little bit higher at $45,000. You can do with that what you want, but we're going to take a look at what we have with each model as far as a comparison overall with exterior, interior, available engine options, and well, as much as we can fit into a fairly short video. Now, let's take a look at our front end here. We're going to have the nice headlight housing here and the Thor's hammer blinker, something that the Evoque can't claim, although everything looks just as good there. But overall, that is a very nice look. You're going to have the power folding, power adjustable side view mirrors. So when you turn the engine off and you lock the doors, these gloss black mirrors will fold in when you lock everything. Turn signal indicators are built in. Now you do have the exposed door handles here. So obviously the reason that you don't have that there, we'll look a little bit more closely at that in just a minute when we get over there, but that's going to improve aerodynamics, something that, well, may not be as useful here, but then again, you have multiple engine options with this XC40. And a very nice, modern, and well, sporty look with the unique Volvo rear taillights. A very nice look with the way everything just kind of comes around and curves around into the rear fender area there. And you have the exposed rear window wiper, but a nice rear roof spoiler right here, finishing things off. And something that you'll find with both models is going to be right here. We'll take a look again at both. I don't have it open right now, but there is your panoramic sunroof, the shade drawn forward right now. And something that you will find here that is standard across the board on all Volvo XC40s is the power rear liftgate. No matter what trim level of the XC40 you buy, you're going to find that is going to be just a staple, basically. It's a standard feature. So we'll move over here to the Range Rover Evoque. You're going to have the Range Rover logo here on the front end, and taking a look at the two grills, well, tell me which one you think looks more modern on these vehicles. So ultimately, we're going to have, well, pretty much the typical Range Rover Discovery style look here, just a smaller version of that, and a more narrow headlight housing overall here. But it does look nice, it does look modern, and it has a nice look to it as far as just knowing that there are good aerodynamics here. It is a little more racy looking because of the overall lines of the vehicle leading up from the front end to the hood. Now, one thing you will find here with this model that you won't find on the other side with the XC40 is going to be found right here. The air curtain to help improve airflow, to help improve aerodynamics. Now, looking from the outside, unless the turn signals are on, it may look like there is no turn signal indicator built in to, again, the power folding side view mirrors, but it is there. Now, something that is different here is the way the roof line slants down as it gets towards the rear of the vehicle. So you're not going to have as wide of a rear window here or as tall, but you can still see out of it fairly well. But one thing that's not here, the rear window wiper, it's not exposed at least. It is concealed away here in the rear roof spoiler. That gives it a cleaner look back here. But let's see here, one thing to show you, well, you don't have the motion sensor to open the rear door. It is hands-free because you can use the remote to do that if you want to. But just so you can see, comparing apples to apples, so to speak, I guess you say it's a red apple or a green apple. And taking a look at the remote, a difference in these remotes between the XC40 that we have here, the Volvo remote, is that you don't have buttons on the face of the remote. They're located here on the side. So what I'm going to do is hit the button to unlock everything, and you can see those power folding mirrors in action. I told you they folded. And with the Range Rover Evoque, well, a little bit more of maybe a traditional remote here with the buttons located on the face of the remote. And again, like I said, power folding side view mirrors. These don't fold in quite as much, but I don't think someone's gonna say, well, I'm not buying the Evoque because those mirrors don't fold in as much as they do on the XC40. Well, I don't know, then again, they might. When it comes to what's under the hood of the XC40, there are actually a few different options, including the pure electric model, or you can go with this, well, base engine option, the 2-liter turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder. It makes 247 horsepower and 258 pounds-feet of torque. Made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and you can get these in front-wheel drive as we have today, or go with all-wheel drive. And what about the MPGs? Let's take a quick look at what we have here. I don't know how well you can see that, but we've got 23 city, 30 highway, 26 combined, and 3.8 gallons of gas is what Volvo says you should use per every 100 miles you drive with this particular engine combination under the hood. And while there is only one engine offering currently for the Range Rover Evoque, we'll see what happens in the future with that. But in this case, well, it's a very similar engine to what we have in the XC40. It's another turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It makes 247 horsepower and 269 pounds-feet of torque. It's mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and this model is all-wheel drive. So what are the differences going to be on MPGs? Let's take a quick look here. Hopefully you can see it on the screen. 20 highway, 20 city and 27 highway, 22 combined, and 4.5 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And just so I can show you the differences here, I did allude to the fact that you have these door handles that are flush mounted with the body. You can leave them out or push them back in with the button right there, depending on what you need to do, but obviously that makes it easy to open that way. But that does help to improve gas mileage with this model. Now, I must admit that the towing capacity for this model is pretty impressive at 3,500 pounds. And what about cargo capacity? Well, you have a couple of different options here. They range between 16 cubic feet up to 57.5 cubic feet. Now, you do have an option here for a pass-through, so that's always a nice option. And then if you want to, you can obviously maximize cargo capacity by lowering these rear seats. I'm only going to do it on the one side, but as you can see, there's what you have where that is concerned. And you do have the removable cargo cover right here. It's pretty easy to take out. You're just going to release or take these little pieces off right here and then remove it off of where it's notched or hung on in the front. And a USB back here, excuse me, not USB, a 12 volt. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's USB. It is a 12 volt. Just a little mistake of shooting videos there. But overall, it is pretty plentiful back here. But how does the Range Rover Evoque compare? One number is definitely going to be higher. So what was that difference I was talking about? Well, you can tow a little bit more here. While it's not a ton more, it's 3,968 pounds. So if you're curious to know which tows the most, well, the Evoque definitely comes in ahead. 21.5 cubic feet up to 50.5 cubic feet as far as cargo capacity goes. Again, you have a very similar cargo cover here. It is removable, just like what we just saw. And then we'll go over here and show you, well, basically the same thing as far as how to lower the rear seats down. If I can get that to move, there we go. The seat's a little far forward here, so I'm gonna have to just let you know that that does work that way. In fact, we'll work our way over here and lower down the left-hand side. Just one of those things that happens when the seats are too far back, but here we go. Now I can show you, see, they do fold down. Now they may not fold completely flat, but they do fold down, as you can see right there. And you also have a second option here with this model, just like you do with the XC40, with the pass-through, although there's a lot more space here. You don't just have the little kind of a trap door pass-through. This entire seat back folds all the way down. And by the way, even though I haven't shown them, both models have spare tires, both located underneath the floor, in case you were curious. And we'll take a quick look. Here is the size of the door bin for the XC40. Comfortable seating back here, by the way. And I did tell you that there is a panoramic sunroof, so there's a nice kind of a first-person view of sorts. air conditioning vents on the rear of the center console, and there are 2 USB port options down there. Let's see if I can give you a good view of that. It's kind of hard to do, but it is there, and there are the heated outboard seats for the rear seat passenger. So whoever sits here in the rear seat area, in the middle seat, well, they're kind of out of luck. I guess they're just going to have a cold butt if it's cold enough outside. Now, you also have a panoramic sunroof here as well, although there is one difference. Here in the Evoque, it's one solid piece of glass. You can't actually open the front portion like you can over there on the XC40. And what about comparing door bin size? Well, you can see that the door bin seems to be larger here for the Evoque, but it actually comes from here back. So they're about the same size, a little bit more height here in that respect. And then we'll hop in here and take a look at what we have with the rear seating area. Again, those dual air conditioning vents back there. You've got more connectivity options here as well, although not quite as much as we saw with the XC40, at least not on this particular model. Now, that doesn't mean that's not available back here, but just comparing what we have available today, that shows you what's here and what's not. But again, you can have more accessories back here and more options than what we have on this particular model. In the interior of the front seat of the XC40, well, we're going to see that you have a couple of settings for seat memory and all the functionality and controls you expect to see there. Your steering wheel mounted controls and a very nice instrument cluster for the driver. As you can see, you can have navigation up there. It's a very nice look, that's for sure. Now, the one area where a lot of people might say, well, I just don't like the Volvos, would be with the infotainment screen. However, that has changed for this year because now you have Google Assistant, and you can literally give her any commands you want, even to change the air conditioning so you don't have to go into the screen yourself to do it. She'll take care of that for you. And let's go here to our cameras and just show you what you have in this particular instance. There is what you have. And then if you want to change driving modes, you don't have a whole lot in the way of multiple driving modes here, but you can see drive modes right there. So all I have to do is go over here and click, and I'm ready to go into off-road mode. Even if people say these aren't capable off-road, they are. Maybe not in a big way like a Jeep or something along those lines, but they are capable of going off-road. And ultimately, you can give Google commands for directions with your maps, all that good stuff. It's all really easy to use, easier than ever, really, than we've ever seen in the past. So I think for people who might say they've shied away from these XC40s or any Volvo because of the infotainment screen, well, good news for you. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Wireless charging right here, and you're going to have the controls for your radio right there. There's the shifter. If you don't like push button shifters, that's good because you have a nice shifter here. It really is a very nice, elegant looking shifter. Push button parking brake. And then you do have the feature right here that's, well, it's a trash can is what it's supposed to be, and you can actually take that out of there if you want to, or you could just put whatever you want to in there. It doesn't have to be a trash can, but it is there, so an interesting thing. And the center console right here, quite a bit of space down in there. And one more thing I do want to show. Let me shut the engine down here, if I can find the button real quick, and show you something here that you won't find in the Evoque, which are these areas right here. They're not only here, there's also another one at the top of this area under the center console right there above your wireless charging pad. You're supposed to be able to put business cards or hide whatever kind of cards you want to there. I don't know if I would recommend hiding your debit cards or credit cards there. They would fit, but I just don't know if that's the wisest idea. By the way, you do have power seats, and let's see, let's hop back in here for just a second here so I can show you real quick. But obviously, you've got the fully adjustable power seats. You can hear everything starting up there. Let me close that door so we don't get too much of that chime right there. But you can see right here that you have heated seats and you have the heated steering wheel as well. All right, a quick look at the door panel here. Now, we don't have seat memory here in this particular case, but just so you can see what all is here. Another nice modern looking instrument cluster, and you can go through a lot of information with these steering wheel mounted controls here As you can see, I'm not going to go through everything, but just to show you what all is here. Obviously, you have your cruise control and the same functionality with the blinker lever and the headlight controls right here, and obviously your window wipers, front and rear window wipers. The big difference here, and don't worry about what we see right there with that flashing. See how it's kind of starting and stopping a little bit there, but that is to do with my camera. It has nothing to do with this screen, but it's the Pivi Pro, as modern as you can get from Land Rover right now, and very easy to use. In fact, even with Google Assistant, I would have to give the nod to this system right here. Just very simple to use, gives you a lot more information, a lot more details about the vehicle. Off-road, I'd say the Evoque is probably a little bit better. And then as far as cameras go, we'll take a look at what we have there. Not as much going on here, but you can change the view, as you can see right there. You can see what I'm doing on the screen to do that. It's very easy to do. And then we're going to go over here into settings, and you can change the screen angle. And, you know, as you can see, it's better to have the screen in a more upright position, at least right now it is. When you turn the vehicle off, that's going to go back down into its inset position within the dashboard. But when you turn the ignition back on, it will return to the spot where you left it when you turn the ignition off. In that lower screen, you're going to control all the functionality of the seats, the heated seats, and your air conditioning, and all that kind of stuff. And then also your driving modes. More driving modes here than what we saw over there with the XC40. So you've got your eco mode. I'll just run through all the modes here. Comfort program. You've also got the grass, gravel, and snow, and then obviously mud and ruts, kind of off-road of sorts there, sand, and then you're going to finally have the auto terrain as well. So controls, you have physical controls here for the air conditioning, even though I showed you that you can control that through the infotainment screen if you want to, but we're going to leave that right there so that the fan speed doesn't get too high. Nice shifter, no push button shifters here in the case of the overall functionality, but still a very clean look around it, similar to what we saw with the Volvo over there. And then you're going to have two different ways, two different doors basically here, lids I should say, for the center console, and quite a bit of space down there. Obviously a lot going on within the interior of both vehicles, and both models have equally good ride qualities. I do have to, if I had to give a nod to one or the other, it would have to be the Evoque. Not by a lot, but it does seem to have a little bit better ride quality than does the XC40. But neither one is going to beat you to death. They're both very comfortable vehicles to drive regardless, and both sharp looking vehicles. So now that I've presented the highlights of these vehicles to you, tell me down in the comments section, which one would you prefer to buy? Which one do you like more? Tell me what your answer is and tell me why. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport and Volvo Cars of Shreveport for loaning me both of these models for the day to show them to you. And gotta say a special thanks to all of you for giving me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that is on the screen right now, and I will see you there.